Create a show that is for women, by women.
But she got coronavirus.
I feel like we're so divided right now.
I might say something that's very different than your beliefs.
I don't know if I'm supposed to put it out there, but I did.
Your shit, but your phone was
And you're
listening.
thinking, yes,
You were talking to
yes.
someone, and then
I don't know if I want to come here without my makeup on.
That's something I was craving, was more my community of awesome women, leaders.
Women, we be the ones that nurture into healing.
we won't be turning our backs on each other no matter what's said.
This is great for us to be here today.
It's a conversation with the viewers. It's not just a conversation with us. By thanking Ash, Sobhe, and thank you for tuning in with us. I'm excited to be here today with a group of amazing women who some I know, some I don't know, but one thing we have in common is that we care about the Reno community. I want to start by thanking Ash, Sobhe, and Boone Cutler and Our Success Media. They made it possible for us to create a show that is for women, by women, talking about things that are important to us in our Reno community. So today we are meeting together for the first time. We're actually in the process of exploring the creation of this show, and it's kind of fun that we get to document the process. And we're bringing all of you along with us on this journey. So we don't even have a show name yet. I'm calling it The Experiment. Ash is calling it The Clue. We'll figure that out as we go. But what we're going to start with first, because all of these amazing ladies are sitting here with us, some don't know each other, some don't even know each other's names. So I'm just going to go to my right and we'll go down the line and do some introductions.
Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Leela Ganusi. I am from the Reno area, but I'm also from everywhere. I am somebody that works in the cannabis industry. I have worked in the medical side of it for 5 years now, and I am a community activist here in Reno, and also a chronic illness advocate as well, and bringing awareness to those issues in our community.
I'm Siobhani Peterson. I've lived in Reno my whole life, and I always say that I'm one of those people around here who drank the Reno Kool-Aid because I spent, I would say probably the first 22 years of my life saying that I was going to get out of Reno the first opportunity I got. And then the 2 years that came after that, which also coincidentally is when Reno started getting really cool and having more culture and more restaurants and bars. But then I started to see the appeal of this place, and now I just am even more passionate about it because I didn't appreciate it for a long time. Now I've seen the amazing potential it has, and I'm very passionate about this transitionary phase that what was once our small town is going through.
My name's Katie Brandenburg. I'm a realtor here in Reno Sparks, and I've lived in Reno for about 8 years now. I moved here from Colorado, and it was never my game plan to stay here, ever. It's supposed to be college and then back to Colorado, which I did do for about 3 months, and I miss Reno a lot. So I decided to come back and really establish my career here in real estate and let it take off, and I'm so happy that I did. It's, like you said, awesome to see how this place is growing, even in the last 8 years or so. But I do think that as a community, if we could keep that biggest little city part of Reno as we progress and get bigger, that would be most ideal.
I'm Shonda Golden, and I'm the founder of Golden Tampon. I started Golden Tampon 3 years ago, and to date, I have collected over 7,000 tampons for homeless women in our community. Thank you. It's all community-based. I'm not a non-for-profit. I'm totally it's just a drive. And so, for me, community is very important, and making sure that we are helping the looked over and the looked upon the most, because a lot of us are so blessed, but we can't forget where we came from. I'm a Southern California native. By way of Kona, Hawaii, I moved here. And I fell in love with Reno because I love the history of it. You know, this was where Marilyn Monroe filmed her last movie, The Misfits. And so I just love everything about the kind of a misfit attitude of all of Reno. But for me, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this, because I think it is so important that as women, we be the ones that nurture into healing as what we all need to do right now, especially in this moment. One thing I am doing currently is I'm working with the city to re-beautify. Is it re-beautify or beautification? Beautification. Is it beautiful? So I'm going to try to, what I'm working with is to do a beautification project for Paradise Park on Audi Boulevard, because right now, the children in that community, it's more of a lower income community. We have seniors there, and the park got overrun, and so it's our responsibility as a community to get the park back up and running again.
Hello, I am Marley Lane. I am married, so I am a wife. I am a mother. I have quite a history. I am born and raised native of Reno, Nevada, moved away 17 years, and just came back right before the pandemic. So by calling, my purpose, I am a pastor, but my actual job, or what I do, is I'm an independent consultant for paparazzi. I lead a team of about 700 women, ladies, and we are in the top 0.1% of the company. All of the community service that I do is usually connected with church or somehow a community of ministers or whatnot. This is great for us to be here today. For me, especially with being a woman minister, it's not so wonderful or so great in the community. So moving out here right before the pandemic, there's things that I want to get into as this being my home. And being a voice for women. When I meet women, we're just all friends, and we're all sisters. We have so much in common. And so I do have a movement called Hey Girl Hey, Celebrate Her. And that's just to celebrate women just because we're mothers, just because we're daughters, just because we're career women, just because we're wives, just because. Hey girl, hey. So I'm excited to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me, Laura. I am Bella Rios. I work at a classic hip hop station here in town called 95.5 The Vibe. I've been doing radio for the last 7-8 years. I absolutely love it. I love being the voice, but I also love being behind the scenes where a lot of people don't know me. They know the name, but they don't really know who I am. So I think this is a great opportunity to finally show who I am, because I really love this community. I was born and raised in Tahoe, and then I moved to LA, and my parents decided to retire in a very small town called Yerington. And so when I moved back, I was like, no way. I am gonna move to Reno, and Reno's perfect because it had that city vibe, but it also had that small community vibe, and that's what I've fallen in love for. And there is a lot of potential here. Obviously, we've seen it in the last couple of years, and there's a community that's still not being spoken for, and that is the Mexican Latino community. And I think this is a perfect time to help them out and be that voice, because that park that you used to live by, Shonda, I used to live by it. Mm-hmm. So I know exactly what it is to be around the hood and see those kids. And then I've been on the other side of Reno that has no clue what's really going on in some areas. So thank you for having me, and thanks for I'm meeting all of you guys. Pretty awesome, incredible woman here.
Yeah, and I love that you're a pastor.
Oh, and I'm a mom, and I'm expecting my second baby. How could I forget that? So, and I have a wonderful husband. We've been together for 10 years. He's been in the entertainment industry for a long time, so we've had a lot of fun.
Awesome. What an incredible group of women. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Shannon Benetti. I originally am from the Bay Area. I moved to Reno about 10 years ago, was working in local news, and then moved to Vegas for a few years. Had sort of the same feelings about Reno, thought I would just come through and then move on, didn't think I would settle here. But I ended up really missing it and missing the small town vibe with good people. I ended up moving back, stayed in news for a couple more years, then decided to start a family and get married, and now I call myself a momtrepreneur. I have a little one, I run a business, my husband is in healthcare, and with the pandemic, getting childcare is just super hard. So I appreciate you all letting me bring my little one. This is Braven. It's spelled with a V, B-R-A-V-E-N. And I think he's enjoying the life. He's quite distracted, so that's a good thing. But yeah, I'm just so honored to be here, and I'm so excited to get the conversation going. Thank you for being with us, Shannon. And I have to say, you know, you were one of those women that immediately I knew I wanted to call out this project. And everyone that is here today, this was planned, I think, within a week, 2 weeks. So what I love is the heart for all of you to make time to be here, and especially Shannon, who couldn't get daycare and was really brave in coming here and bringing Braven, because, right, as women and as moms, sometimes it's hard to wear so many hats. And but I loved your heart for being in it to win it, and you are such a value add. So.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah. My name is Laura Garcia. I'm a wife, a mom, and a business owner in that order. And I own a company called La Di Da Beauty. I'm really thankful to have a platform to talk about things like beauty, like health, our schools, marriage, whatever comes to us. And so that's why I'm here. When Ash approached me and he said that we would have a platform where we can have all sorts of different backgrounds, we can have different beliefs. One thing we have in common is that we all believe in community over competition. So that's why I'm here. We want to keep it fun, and one thing that I'm passionate about is community. And in my background, I've created communities of makeup artists. I've created communities of salon owners. I've created communities of like-minded business owners. And so now I get to be a part of a community of women who, again, have one thing in common, and that is elevating our community of Reno. I want to take a moment and just talk about what's possible for this show. And I'm just curious to hear from you ladies, and you can go popcorn style, we don't have to go in order, but just why did this pique your interest, and what do you see possible for this show? Don't all go at once.
I'll start. You know, when Ash originally introduced me to you, Laura, and just with the history that I have with him, we met through kind of a hard time in our country through the wake of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Grandma Aubrey, and so many more that we can't even name. That we met through exactly the same kind of dynamic, where I was like, we need to come to peace and find a moment so that we can come together as a community, just like the Reno community that I know. I've grown up here most of my life. And I missed it. I missed that kind of community sense, and I felt like we were losing that because of COVID. And the minute he came to me with this idea, I said, this is exactly what we were trying to do then, and this is exactly what we need.
I also feel like we're so divided right now, you know, and obviously, like, I know that some of you have different politics views than maybe the ones I view, but at the end of the day, like, we're still human and we still care for the same things, which is humanity and growing together. So I think as women, like, we should be the leaders here doing that.
We all come from different walks of life, different places in our life, different seasons in our life. There's a lot that we can explore. For me personally, in this moment, I'm really struggling with the COVID and the lockdowns, and my daughters who are on their own. What does their future look like? You know, with these, what does that do to my daughters, who I take so much pride in raising them to be good Christian women, right? That's a topic that I'm interested in, how people are parenting in this, you know, with COVID. Like Bella has a baby on the way. There's a baby here. What is that? We have children that are in school. What does that look like?
We all come from different walks of life, and I think you said we've all been there, and don't forget where we've come from. Mm-hmm. And so there's more that we can touch when we are kind of, you know, brought together. Diverse, but definitely unified.
Yes.
And so then there's more people that you can reach that maybe I can't, but I can reach that maybe you can't. And so we're kind of bringing everybody together with their differences, and we're offering the richness of the wisdom that women have, and we have lots of it.
Yeah. I think that we have to talk about, like, right away, we first off have to talk about like some commitment towards a path towards each other of mutual respect, because if we're going to explore topics that are uncomfortable here, I don't know you guys, like you're not people that I would typically like say I feel very comfortable having very difficult conversations with. We all just met. So we're going to have to like create that safety through like an agreement and respect for each other, that I might say something that's very different than your beliefs. You might think that we need to be going in a very different direction than I do, but we're committed to the fact that you and me having different opinions does it make it impossible for us to sit down and have a conversation? And more importantly, does it make it impossible for us to learn from each other? So I think if we could all like set it right now that no matter where this goes, we won't be turning our backs on each other no matter what's said, then we have the potential that this show could really make a big difference and allow people to see big differences of viewpoints being handled just fine. Like everything's okay.
I think you bring up a really good point, and it's something that I've thought about, Brene Brown's safety container. How do we create a safety container in this show setting? And for me, I think it really comes in a couple of different ways. One, about me having the confidence to be my true, authentic self with you guys, and to have a lot of trust and knowing that there's no judgment. And sometimes people think, oh, well, don't judge me. But really, the judgment comes from us first in trusting. We have to deploy the trust, and then there can be non-judgment. But if we are fearful of judgment, then we're creating the space for judgment. At the end of the show, if we don't want to have a glass of wine with each other, then we've done something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I like that.
So it's okay, if one person believes in God and one person doesn't. If one person feels comfortable not wearing a visor and another person doesn't. But it's okay to recognize those differences, but we also need to talk about them respectfully. So that's what I'm excited to create. And I have to say, I am a makeup artist and a beauty entrepreneur and business owner. I'm excited to talk about body positivity. I'm excited to talk about beauty. I would love to do a show, and you don't have to commit yet, but I would love to do maybe an episode down the road once we've created our safety container where we come without our makeup on. And part of the show is we just sit here, put our makeup, and talk about beauty and where our ideas of beauty come from and who taught you about beauty. Was it your mom? And do you enjoy shopping for beauty? And just those types of topics. I would love to get out into the community and, try to, maybe we do a show in a different business where we're learning about a topic that's just really prominent in, today's issues for women.
But I gotta tell you, I don't know if I wanna come here without my makeup on.
So safe place.
Yeah, that's maybe not my safe place. Maybe I'll just have makeup on and then I can help apply, yeah.
That's
thank you.
safe
That's
space means
so
I respect
great
that
about-
you don't, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I just have my eyeballs on.
That's what's so nice about having a group like this is because it's also an outlet for us. I don't know about you, what you were saying with the pandemic, it's really hard to interact with others. And myself, I'm home all day with baby, so getting out and seeing you guys, it just makes my day that much better. So it's something to look forward to, and I think the viewers at home can probably relate with that. I mean, it's a conversation with the viewers. It's not just a conversation with us.
Right.
So I think that's exactly what Reno needs right now.
So it's been hard too in certain aspects of my career. I typically work a lot with men. And so it's just, I was like, that's something I was craving, was more my community of awesome women, leaders, and people that, have a little more of the same hat that I kind of wear as being, I think we're all kind of go-getters and people that really stand out there, so.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, ladies. We want to go ahead and take a break right now. We just need to check on a couple of things. When we come back, we'll have some more topics to talk about, and we'll get into it. And we're back. Thank you first to our viewers for watching this. We realized that initially it's probably going to be our friends and families. So, Mom, thanks for tuning in. We want to first start by thanking some awesome individuals who came alongside us to help make this project possible. First, of course, would be this gorgeous setting. Thank you so much to Whitney Peak. I love that the set includes Beyonce, just gotta say. This is such a gorgeous setting for an important show, and so we just appreciate having you as one of our community partners to make this happen. We also want to, again, thank Our Success Media. These gentlemen behind the cameras are really the ones who had the vision to create space for us to create the show of our dreams. So thank you for being on this journey with us and giving us this platform. For our first topic, now that we've got intros out of the way, I kind of wanted to start with a softball topic. Don't be disappointed, viewership. But don't worry, we'll get into more intense stuff later. But, we're 2 weeks into the new year, 2021. Are you guys people who set resolutions, New Year's resolutions? Are you goal setters? What are some of those things that you've kind of declared for yourself in 2021? I'm curious where everyone's at.
Well, my goal this year is to get the parks beautified. Is it beautified or beautification? What is the word?
It's a beautification project.
Okay,
but you're
beautification.
beautifying the parks, though. Either way, you're good.
That's my beautification project.
Yes.
Is
I love
the
it.
park.
Do you have a timeline, like a by when?
No, we're still in the infant stages of it, but I gotta give a shout out to the Mayor Hillary because she had found out that I was upset and she went through a woman named Clara Downey to kind of coordinate with me, and there's a lot of things that happened. So we're still in the infancy stages of it, but I anticipate that it's gonna go really well. I'm excited about it. So that's my goal there. And
I
then,
love that. So I have to ask you, in that process, how do you even figure out how long something like that takes?
I don't know. I'm kind of like doing this show, like I don't know. And you know what? I mean, I do plan things, but I just kind of go with my own grace, right? And I just one stiletto in front of the other, and I know God will always provide and lead, and I pray on it, and so that's kind of where I'm at right now. But that park is so beautiful, and I've met so many people in the community that are around my age, you know, like my girlfriend said, oh, I used to go make out with some guy at that park. And, you know, I mean, it's just such a huge part of this community, so that's a big thing. And I need to point out, too, I didn't say that I'm very happily married.
So one of your goals is to stay happily married?
One of my goals is to stay happily married. I'm married to an alpha. You know, my husband, Greg Golden, owns Bizarre Guitar and Guns here in our community.
I'm a big fan.
And yeah, huh?
I'm a big fan.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, I purchased many times from them.
Oh, thank
yeah, they're
you.
amazing.
That's
yeah,
us.
you guys are amazing.
Yeah, and our roots are deep. We're Golden Valley. I don't know if people know that. Golden Valley was named after my father-in-law. And being women, I think this might be interesting. My mother-in-law developed Sun Valley.
Oh, I love
A lot of people don't know that. They don't know that Sun Valley was developed by a woman. She bought up most of that land and she put trailers in there from Louisiana. That was all
So
a woman
cool.
that did that. So
Interesting.
yeah. But as far as I mean, what? I want to lose weight, I guess. I don't know.
Eliminate.
I want to
You're
eliminate.
not gonna find it again, right? You don't want to lose it.
I like that.
Very
I
good.
like that.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely.
How
Who's
about you
next?
expecting in the new year? That's exciting.
I know, but I think 2020 made me realize that I just needed to slow down, so I'm not gonna make any goals. Just kind of gonna go with the flow this year. Like I've always been so busy, I've always been running around doing this and doing that, being a mom. I have a 4-year-old that I forgot to tell you guys, how could I forget, she's like my best friend. And so I'm just really focused on being the best mom, best wife, and put out once in a while.
Real talk.
I like it.
Right?
Real talk.
The real mom
Real
part
talk.
I mean,
reminds
it's
me.
true though.
Yeah. Reminds me of something that Siobhani, you said you've been focusing on lately is kind of balancing
Putting
your
out?
life.
Putting out.
That too.
You guys are laughing, but you know it's true.
I do.
Not that part. I'm talking about the mom work-life balance. You've been sharing on social media that you're trying to take off certain afternoons to spend time with your family, which I think is awesome.
I think a lot of it is being a female and trying to make a big space in a male industry, and then a lot of it's being a mom and trying to manage that, and then a lot of it's like how you grew up, how much you grew up watching your parents work, which I didn't realize as much. My parents both worked a lot. My dad was definitely a workaholic, and my mom got a second master's and changed careers with 3 kids after a divorce. And so I posted something on social media that Shannon was talking about that I remember when my parents took me to their office, I sat quietly in the corner and read my book.
Yeah.
When my boys come to my office, they literally nearly destroy the whole building. So I'm like, every time I think it's gonna work, it's not. But my 2021 resolution, and you guys are gonna laugh at me, but if you knew me, you'll get there, we'll get there, is to be nicer. Because I'm a very direct person, I'm very transparent, I'm very unfiltered. And so sometimes small talk is physically painful for me. I have a really hard time with it because I feel like I don't have time for it, and I don't wanna have small talk with you. If I'm gonna talk to you, I wanna have a substantial conversation, so I just wanna jump right into it. And so I'm gonna work this year on being letting the fluffy stuff be enjoyable and being more thoughtful and being a slower paced mom, just being nicer.
You know, I'm
Vision.
confused this year, to be honest with you. Like 2020 kind of derailed me a bit. I got into real estate in 2019 in October, so right at the very end. And I hit the ground running. I was super lucky with the transactions that fell into my lap. And then I went 6 months without being paid. And I was like, I don't even know how I'm doing this. And I really, like with the quarantine and everything else, I really felt like I closed a lot of people off and cut a bunch of ties just because I was scared about my career. I was nervous about, obviously, the pandemic and politics, the whole 9 yards. And we weren't able to go do anything. Like the fact that we're in this room together this wouldn't have happened this time last year almost. And things have changed. So I'm with you, just kind of taking things step by step. And again, slowing down and just being in the moment and appreciating that, especially like being a new businesswoman and figuring out that balance where I'm single. So I don't have any babies. I have 4 dogs, so that's one thing. But it's still tough, like to hang the phone up and actually watch a movie with my family. Sometimes it's like, when's the last time we did that without texting or Snapchatting your stupid movie that you're watching in that scene, like actually being in the moment and not caring about that client that called about that one thing. It's after 7 o'clock. Everything's going to be okay by tomorrow. So.
I really appreciate that you shared that and being vulnerable because it's hard to admit kind of going through struggle. So
it's so hard. We're just so like attached to those phones all the time where it's hard to not get anxiety sometimes. And sometimes in the morning I wake up and 7:30, 8 o'clock and like, oh my God, I don't want to look at my phone. Like what could have fallen apart, you know, in the 12 hours that I didn't look at or the 8 hours, and just to be in the moment of it's not going to be settled today or right now, and that's okay. That's not easy to do.
Have you heard of Jay Shetty?
What's that? I'm sorry?
Have you heard of Jay Shetty?
No.
He had this book that just came out called Think Like a Monk. And one of the things he talked about that really resonated with me was, like, you should absolutely not be looking at your phone first thing in the morning.
Right.
100%, yeah.
But it is so hard to break that habit if you keep your phone by your bed.
right.
It's so true.
Because you'll even wake up a few minutes earlier to just look at your phone than you would. And so about 2 months ago, I set a new rule that at 8:30 an alarm goes off on my phone. I have to get up and walk it to the kitchen to put it there to charge. I had to buy an alarm clock. I haven't had an alarm clock in like years because I used my phone. And now when I wake up, like, you know, I go pee, I start getting ready, I brush my teeth. Sometimes I'll start drinking my coffee before I remember to look at my phone.
How wonderful.
And
That sounds so
the
peaceful.
change in my nerves throughout the day has been huge. Like, I guess you don't realize how anxious it actually makes you to look at those lights and have your eyes adjust like that and then start being
Always.
flooded with information when your brain is still trying to adjust. So it was, I mean,
I love that. That's a great idea to do the alarm clock. I've actually been thinking about it because it's just like such peace of mind. And even if you wake up in the middle of the night, like I always do, and my first thing I want to look at my stupid phone.
and then it's harder to fall asleep.
It's harder to fall asleep.
There is an actual, because like I worked for a neurologist for about 2 years before I entered the medical space as and working in the cannabis industry. And one thing that we worked with a lot was actually in that realm of something called, like we use a certain therapy basically to help people enter into REM sleep. But when you're looking at your phone, it actually decreases your ability to enter REM, which is where your dream state is, where everything is processed. I mean, so quite literally, I've been putting my phone to the side for about, and like building into these routines now for about 3 years. And it significantly has helped me advance in my career. Like I struggle with mental health. It has severely helped improve certain things in my mental health. So, but there is an actual physical response to it.
I believe it.
I remember the first time, I think it was a comedy show my husband and I went to, and they have those bags, you know, that you put your phone in and they lock it and they take it. That was one of the first times that I really got to experience fully not having access to the phone.
But wasn't it nice to actually like go to a concert and not be on your phone and not recording it? 'Cause, like,
It
you
was
miss
so
much.
nice.
Yeah.
It was so nice. And I will say, we're going to close the segment out, but I'll leave us with one thought. So I have a rule in our house that no technology before 10 a.m. for my daughter. And sometimes she gets really frustrated and she's like, why can't I have technology before 10 a.m.? And I tell her, your brain is still forming. And I've trained her that boredom is good for her because boredom allows us to be more creative.
Mhm.
And I think there's something to it that some of the inventors of technology, you hear about the Bill Gates and Steve Jobs of the world who don't let their children have technology. I
Exactly,
think
and their
there's
children
something to
read
that.
books.
Yeah. So on that topic, we'd love to hear from you viewers. What are your New Year's resolutions? How do you feel about going into 2021? What are some of your thoughts on the topics we've been talking about? Drop them in the comments. Maybe we'll even reference one of you in our next show. And we're back. So as you know, for a lot of us, this is our first time doing a show. And it's our first time doing a show that's being aired on social media. So if you're watching our watch parties or you came to this page through one of these beautiful hosts, make sure that you like and follow and share R6S Media by Ash Sobhe, and that is what you're watching the show on right now. So make sure that you share it, like it, so that you're kept in the loop of all future episodes. I'm so curious, what is it like being pregnant during COVID?
It was actually nice. I work in clubs. That's where I promote. I do all that. I'm out and about. So it's been nice to just hang out at home and enjoy my family and enjoy my daughter. But I've also had a lot of complications with this pregnancy opposed to my first one. So it's been harder, and I'm so glad that I've been working from home because there's no way I would have been able to do it in the studio. I would probably be like barfing everywhere, which is gross. But a lot of moms can relate to that. But I also want to use this opportunity to give a shout out to my raza, my gente latina, okay? I am Mexican. My parents, me gusta hot Cheetos, me gusta la banda, me gusta el tequila. Muchos de ustedes me conocen por coctelera, porque yo trabajaba en el Millennium, en el Mambo's. Yo les he ayudado a muchos a arreglar muchos papeles de inmigración y quiero darles las gracias, pero también quiero darles el shout out. Aquí estoy yo orgullosa de ser la voz para ustedes. Si ustedes ocupan algo, mándenme un link en el Facebook, Bella Rios, ahí estoy, aquí voy a estar y quiero ser la voz, quiero ser el party, ya saben. Me gusta el Vicente, ustedes lo saben, pero también quiero ser su voz.
I love that you bring that up, and to that point, I can see down the road in the future you having your own spin-off, and I'd love to see a full Spanish version of this right here, because we have so many amazing Latina just boss babes in our community. And one person I was thinking of for the show, so my husband's Mexican, I have this beautiful niece, her name is Olga. She just graduated from UNR, she wants to go to law school, she's about to leave, and she wants to get into immigration law. And I thought, how cool would it be to have, just the actual dreamers in our community come in, talk about what it's like to be in the Reno community, because it's something I can't speak on.
And you'd be surprised who dreamers are. I know they get categorized in a certain way, but some of them could be your best friends and you don't even know their situation. I know that there is a guy named Gustavo, and he actually does his own, shout out to Gustavo, he does his catering company, and he's been very successful.
I've seen his social media,
yes, and
the sushi and all that.
and he does a great job, and you wouldn't know that he's a dreamer. I don't know if I'm supposed to put it out there, but I did. But
is it a bad thing to talk about people being dreamers?
I just don't know if it's something they want to share. So maybe I overshared, but I'm pretty sure he's been very open about his walk of life. But yeah, I mean, I think it's very important to know that they're among us and they're not what they are looked at in some views.
I think that's like especially important, especially like for you, like as a mom of like two daughters, soon to be. Like my boyfriend's mother, she's Mexican. She was not taught to dream. She literally was not taught to dream. She said, "So what do you want to be when you were younger?" And she had nothing to say because she just wasn't encouraged to do that. So I think that's like so important for us, like you said, like we don't know who the dreamers are, but it's so important for us to like, even if we don't know who's in that room, to look them up and to make them a part of, say it's okay to dream and it's okay to put it out there.
And also bringing up the resources in Reno. Our community is so supportive of that specific demographic, and there are a lot of resources available, so just being able to like bring that to light too for people, and having you here as a spokesperson for the community, it's so awesome.
So a lot of us are moms in the group, and some of us are fur baby moms, but for the moms in the group, I really wanted to ask the conversation, and Shonda brought up this topic earlier. How are you talking to your kids about COVID, and are they expressing concerns? I mean, from all ages. I mean, my daughter's 9, and then we have babies all the way up to grown grown children. What are you guys doing?
The concerns for my boys are, and I have just, my twins just turned 18, and then I have a sophomore that's at home, and the concerns are more so social, because this is a very social part of their life where everything is about sports and attending games and, you know, them missing out on prom, and those are the things that you want them to be a part of. They were a great part of my life, you know, and so it's trying to create activities that involve the family that satisfies that kind of need from them. And so, you know, you turn 18 and we can't turn up for your birthday. So what do? And it's like, Mom, work your magic. And I'm going, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something as you balance work, as you balance being a wife, as you balance, you know, all the other responsibilities. And so one thing that we created, our Sundays, we leave that afternoon for our family. So we do church in the morning, and then afterwards is whatever we want to discuss, whatever we want to talk about. We sit down and eat together. And for their birthdays, what I did was use social media. I did a show, and on the show, I invited actually people to come in and give them words of wisdom about turning 18. They didn't know. And so we hyped it up, big party style, and bought the balloons and the cake. But seeing their peers that they haven't seen and those that we haven't been able to visit because we haven't been able to travel, it did it for them. Like, I was like, thank God. Thank God, because how do you make it special? So it's been that interaction, especially for my younger son. He kind of went through depression last year, and it was really difficult seeing him. But he's the social guy, you know. He's like, I need to go down the street, and I need to, but you can't, okay, you know. So that was difficult. But for us, it's making that social life. Come on, let's just go and let's just go take a ride to Lake Tahoe, grab something to eat in the car, you know. Doing little things off the cuff, just to make it more, you know, adventurous, even while we're still being together. If that makes sense.
That's a great topic. My daughter's 9, her birthday's in March, so when the closures happened, it was right around the time of her birthday. We had a birthday party planned at Roller Kingdom, and so for her, it was so devastating to have her birthday canceled. And at the time, we didn't know how long the closures were going to be. So we said, it's okay, maybe we'll reschedule, you know, maybe you'll have a half birthday, you know, in 6 months or something. And here we are, a year later, her birthday's coming up again. There's still all of these closures. She's an only child, so the social aspect of school and sports and birthdays is so important to her, and I don't allow her to have social media. So I'm trying to come up with a way, okay, how do I help convey how important, you know, her birthday is to me, and I know she wants to celebrate it with her friends, and
So hard.
so it is hard, and even how to have that conversation. I remember when COVID first hit, and there was that toilet paper shortage, and you know, so we kind of joked about it. But then I thought, how am I going to have this conversation with her? And we were doing the distance learning, so I found there was a printable journal, kind of like with worksheets where they could fill out and say how they're feeling about COVID and who they're social distancing with, and you know, what are the things they're looking forward to doing when they're done. And that was super helpful, but I mean, that was like a year ago, and we're still having this conversation, and how do you continue to carry it on?
I have very little boys, and my son started kindergarten this year, which is a weird thing to start kindergarten in COVID. Like, his experience of school is very different. But the thing I've noticed has been, you notice the little things through kids, and like, they're so resilient. And we were all in a full-blown panic about them having to wear masks all day at school, and it was a not big deal. They wore their masks all day at school, and they get annoyed by it, and they're like excited when they don't have to wear it, but they just did it. They're little troopers. And we tell Nick we can't go places, and he's 4, and he'll automatically say, oh, because of coronavirus? And we're like, no, but that's a good thing that we could use to distract you right now, because you can't go there right now. So yeah, it's closed because of coronavirus. And then on the other end of it, there was little things that were sad. Like, they're really, really close to my mom, and we had my mom like in our bubble so that we were still seeing her, even though she's 65 with a heart condition. But she's a therapist in town, and she's still seeing her kids as clients. So she was still seeing enough that she felt comfortable seeing our boys too. But she got coronavirus around Thanksgiving, and she had it really, really bad, and it was really, really scary for our whole family. And then afterwards, my son, Krish, who's especially close with her, was scared to go near her. And we couldn't figure out why he was being standoffish with his nanny. And she said, I think he's scared of coronavirus. And so we asked him one night, and he says he was stressed. He didn't know what to do, but he's supposed to keep himself safe from germs. And Nani wasn't wearing a mask, and he was scared to go near her. Which was a really crazy thing for us.
I think about that all the time. My son, he was here earlier, he's hopefully sleeping now, but I hear him in the stroller. I think about what it's going to be like for him to grow up. Our mask's going to become the normal thing. Now when I take him to the pediatrician, we're all suited up, and he has a little cover that goes over his stroller, and the doctor literally has to pull her mask down so that he can see her face and see that, it's a human, it's okay. And when he gets his shots, the doctor will tell me, it's okay, you can cuddle him, pull down your mask, let him see that it's you. It's just a weird thing that you never thought you would have to go through, and I think we're all going through this together. So the fact that we have this channel for us to talk about it is absolutely so therapeutic for me personally. Because it just is comforting to know that other people are going through it, and comforting to hear the ideas that people are coming up with and these awesome, great ways to deal with it. It's so intimidating, and it's just, I don't think anyone thought we would be here.
I sure didn't. I was one of the optimists that said, oh, okay, yeah, a couple months and we'll be good. And there were people that said, oh no, we're going to be dealing with this in a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
And I was in denial.
Yeah, but round of applause to all the kids at home, because they did an incredible job.
And all the moms and dads who are
Yes.
helping usher us into this new era. And so we only have a little bit of time left. I'm going to lighten the mood, and I want to ask you guys, what are the social media platforms that you use? Because here we are creating a show that is for social media. I'm just curious, we're all different backgrounds, different ages. What's your jam social media-wise?
So I like Facebook because I have a big following there with my In the Vault show that I do, or I was doing. People were working. And so I'm on Facebook. It's more my demographic. I had to swallow that and go, oh my God, that's my demographic. I am getting older. But so I'm getting older, and that's my demographic. But I like Instagram because I'm a visual person as a photographer. I like to look at that. I have a Twitter account, I have a LinkedIn account, but I don't use those. I'm not on anything else. I'm kind of at a place, social media is important, obviously, to promote, and especially for this great project that we're doing. But I prefer to read. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at, my Bible.
How about you, Katie? What social media do you use?
I'm an Instagram girl.
Instagram?
Yes, definitely. I can't get on board with the TikTok thing. No. But, and Snapchat, no, not for me either. And Facebook is a lot of reading.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad to admit that out loud because I lose interest in it really quickly. And then I'll go back to Instagram because it's faster and easier. And I really enjoy Instagram. I like Facebook also, but that's been my preferred one, for sure.
Siobhani?
I love Instagram. I also love TikTok.
Are you not paranoid that your information is being shared? Because I saw that. Did you guys see that Senate committee hearing? And
Yes.
ever since I saw that, I can't do TikTok.
But now, honestly, technically I'm still a California resident until I finish some of my schooling. But they actually have there's a law there too about privacy. They have to actually tell you if they're selling your information. But I don't know if you know this, but at Rayleigh's, when you put in your phone number, they sell your information.
Yes.
That's what
So
I'm
I feel
saying.
like information is already
Your
so sold.
information, you have a phone, they're
Yes.
tracking you.
See, I'm okay
And I was
with
like
selling
that, and
my
I'm
information to capitalism, but to maybe a potential state, that's a threat to us, like China. That's where I get paranoid, and I kind of freeze. I don't know. Should we do it? Should we not do it? Am I the only one?
It's already it's already being done.
Yeah,
Whether
I
you
felt
feel
like
it or
that, but I
not.
really thought about it, and I'm like, it's already being done. I said yes to so many things before where I was just like, oh yeah, sure, I'll sign up for this, and I'm like, oh, you definitely have my information by this time.
Exactly.
I mean, look at when you're searching on doing a search engine search, and I was like, oh, I was looking at this on Target, and then I'm on another site, and I see exactly or something similar to what I was just looking at.
How many times have you not even searched it, but your phone was
And you're
listening?
thinking,
You're
yes,
talking to
yes,
someone, and then you
yes.
see the ads. So then I'm like, TikTok's the least of my
No
problems.
worries,
Maybe
exactly.
we need like a technology expert to come on and explain how this works.
I wouldn't believe this.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I know.
I'll be paranoid.
I don't believe anything they're
Yeah,
saying.
it's pretty
But,
scary.
maybe, I will say it's also kind of an excuse, I think, because I don't want to get on that platform, because it's one more thing to
One
have
more-
to create.
Yes.
And I haven't posted on my social media in months. Sorry, Ash and Boone. I'm going to share this. I'm going to post, and I have a feeling this is going to actually force me to start sharing a little bit more of my life. But I typically like to be a private person,
Yeah.
and then sometimes I'm so busy, and I have so many photos on my phone where I'm like, oh, I can post this, and then I just never post them. Do you guys ever do that, where you just?
I use Instagram quite a bit, but that's because I work a lot in authenticity and really showing people like the raw sides of like mental health. I have lupus and a couple other chronic illness conditions, and I really promote like showing people my raw self and being like, yo, it's not always rainbows over here, but sometimes the grass is really green, or those kinds of things. So even Facebook I do utilize, but I notice, again, people are they're not readers. But when I'm speaking to them, or even through Reels, like when I'm sitting there putting something to it, I get a lot more information out. Like I get to share a lot more information, I get a lot more reactions back, and a lot of positive feedback, even if it's like a disagreement, actually.
We all need to connect with each other after
Yeah.
this, so
Yeah.
that we can see each
Are
other.
you guys going to force me to do much social media?
I think it depends
Connection.
what you're using it for. Some people
Yeah.
will use social media for work. Some people will use it for enjoyment. Other people will use it because it's like an outlet for them. I
Right.
write for a local mom's blog, and for me, writing is just something I enjoy. And so I think it depends on what your goal is. If you're just doing it for pure fun, then yeah, you might be a visual person, you might prefer Instagram. But if you're doing it to build your business, then maybe Facebook and the algorithms they use and the audience there is completely different. So, and I always admire people who are completely off social media. I think that is just amazing. If you could truly do that, I could not personally, but again, I enjoy the side of being social and sharing and posting and interacting with people. But I do struggle with the privacy factor, especially now having a family. I go back and forth. Do I want my account public or private? When I was in news, I didn't mind it being, open and public. And now that I have a family, I'm a little bit more
That's
careful.
exactly how I was. So I love Facebook, and I have all my family on there, and I'll go in and add strangers. On my Instagram, I'm a little bit more private, just because I do post pictures of my daughter.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how
Those
sick
pictures.
people are out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to take their comments. Some comments would be like from a random page saying, oh, I love the way she's posing. So, hide that stuff. Are we allowed to cuss? I mean, just
Yeah.
just in
You can be
case
wrong.
I drop a,
No, I mean,
yeah, okay.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, how do you deal with it as a mom for the viewers out there that are listening and watching? Like, how do you handle it?
And that's what
I
was
have
tough,
two
because
cats.
my business, me, is showing myself. But then I decided to make another one just for myself, where I don't show my husband, because I'm just kidding. and one where I don't show my daughter at all. Like, if you want to follow me on Instagram, sorry, it's a little private. I just want to make sure that I know who's seeing these pictures.
Yeah.
Real life
Just for
talk.
her privacy, because she hasn't chosen this life, and I don't want in the future for her to be embarrassed of something that's on social media, because this is what I'm doing.
What about for you guys who have older kids? Are they, if they're private or public, or is that something you ever talk with them about, or do you have a preference?
Well, my daughters aren't on social media.
Okay.
They prefer not to be on social media. They don't like it. So with my daughters, I'll share some photos and stuff. My page is public, but I keep it super positive. And if there's intimate photos or, family stuff that's really precious to me, I just go directly to the family members. I kind of just do it that way.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? I'll send photos and stuff, because I'm like Bella, my daughters didn't choose to live out loud. Especially my oldest, she's a very private young woman, and so, but if there's a pretty photo or something, I'll put that out because I want to share that. But yeah, my stiletto is very positive, because that's how I want to bring that energy back into my life.
Well, I use it for business, and if I wasn't on business, if it wasn't about business, I probably wouldn't be on social media as much. So I share it for my business, and it's difficult because this time people want to get to know you and your life. So if you just keep putting business, they're quickly turned off. So they want to see your family. They want to see what you're doing behind the scenes. They want to see what you're eating, And so for me, that's hard. I'm very substantial. So I'm like, I just can't talk about anything on social media. But guess what? That's what they want. They want me to talk about absolutely nothing. So I'm having a difficult time with that. But but for the business part of it, it's been pretty good. So I do Facebook. I'm getting into Instagram, and every platform that my children are on, I am on. I'm kind of like the silent partner in the background because I'm checking, I'm scrolling, but I don't comment most of the time because I want them to forget that I'm on there. And so just to keep tabs on what's being said, and there's so much crazy stuff out there, but it's a good platform, and it's the way of the world. So it's almost like if you're not on social media platform, you're kind of just behind the times. And then you're going to be like, when computers came out, and people are like, I'm not getting no computers.
Right. And now what can you do without a computer?
You can't live without a computer, right? It's like, that's how I feel. Like, Instagram, I got to get to know another platform. My son was like, hey, yeah, Mom, like, come on.
How much smaller our world has gotten because of social media.
Right.
Meaning that I can connect with somebody that's all the way over in Australia or in Ghana, and they get to see women that get to go to school. They get to see women that can dream. They get to see all of those aspects, right? Where sometimes they didn't get to. They still don't get to. So I think about how empowering it is actually also for all of us to give that different input right now, because who knows who's going to see this, and they'll be like, well, guess what? I don't have to do it this way. I can do it this way if I want to, or that way. I think that's a good
perspective.
Yeah. You reminded me of a conversation I had with Ash, actually. So I'm one of those people that I think, too, because I'm a business owner, so I'm constantly creating, and I feel this, I don't know if it's the perfectionism in me or just that I'm overwhelmed, but sometimes social media is overwhelming to me because I just get exhausted. So I don't put anything out there. And the very first time I met Ash Sobhe, I saw a video that, because he's been doing lots of videos for small businesses in the community, and I was like, who's this guy? Like, what is he about? I heard his message and Pay It Forward. Long story short, I said, hey, how can I help? We got together for coffee, just meet and greet. And one of the conversations we started having was about social media. And the very end, I don't even know if you remember this, Ash, but at the end of the conversation, we were talking about social media, and I said, yeah, I just get exhausted, or I think it's perfectionism. And he said, well, I just want to encourage you to something to think about, because getting to know you're a great person, you have integrity, and our younger generation, they are on social media. That is where they are getting their information. That is where they are going and learning and spending their time. And so the reality is that there are not great people on social media. And they're the ones that are dominating and controlling basically all of the input that our youth are getting. And so when good people like you sit back and go, hey, I don't want to necessarily deal with it or be on it, or I like being anonymous, you're kind of depriving our next generation of amazing women who can, lead and be a positive example. And so for me, I'd always looked at social media as a tool, for business. And I think it's just because I'm a business owner. So I was like, well, I'm behind the times, so if I'm not going to use that tool properly and correctly, I'm not going to do it. But to kind of have him position it as, well, no, there's kind of a social, moral obligation to get on there and, shape America's next generation. I was like, well, way to drop the mic, Ash. Or, let me leave this conversation now and think about, something bigger than business and bigger than myself. And
That's awesome.
I like that.
yeah, so I encourage you viewers, share with us what are your thoughts about social media. Obviously, you're on social media watching this. Thank you. We're going to close out today's episode. We will be back next week. But before we close out again, I just want to say some thank yous. I don't know if you've noticed this colorful candy is sitting on the table with us since we last came back from our break. But I think it's so cool when people around the community don't even know necessarily what you're up to, right? We said, oh, we're going to create this show, and that someone would just come along inside and say, here, let me, give snacks, let me support. I think it's pretty cool. So thank you, Kimmy Candy, and Joe and Shannon. We just really appreciate you coming alongside us. Thank you again to Whitney P. And of course, our Success Media. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next week.